This is Mayor Oliver Gilbert, and we've gone virtual. While we're staying at home, remaining safe, I want to make sure that the activities that we enjoy together as a community could be brought to you online. Join me for healthy cooking and nutrition with common threads. Let's cook and stay healthy together. Bon appetit.
Hello everyone, I'm Chef Mariano with Common Threads. Common Threads is a national non-profit organization that teaches families how to lead a healthy lifestyle through nutrition education and healthy cooking. Today, we're teaming up with the city of Miami Gardens to bring you this super delicious and super healthy recipe, the butternut squash mac and cheese. All right, let's go ahead and get started. And I have already done some things prior to, so I want to go over those with you. Okay, so I have the star of this recipe, which is our butternut squash. So what did I do with it? I went ahead and peeled it and I cubed it and then I boiled it for about 15 minutes. Now, butternut squash is an excellent ingredient. It's a vegetable and it's packed with lots of vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. Now, these vitamins and minerals and antioxidants that the butternut squash offers really boost our immune system, all right? And our immune system is what allows us to fight off any of these things, bacteria, germs, viruses. So right now is a really good time to really eat some of this delicious butternut squash. Okay, so that's what I did with my butternut squash. With my pasta, I just cooked it like I would cook it regularly, okay? Just follow the box instructions. And I do recommend that you go with the whole wheat pasta. Whole wheat pasta is gonna be more nutritious, okay, than the refined pastas. How do you find that out? You look on the box, and if it says whole wheat in the ingredients, that's how you know that you're going ahead and taking with you a whole wheat pasta. Whole wheat means it's got all of its nutrition, none of it was taken out, which is what happens with the refined pastas. Okay, so what is our first step that we're gonna go ahead and do? We're gonna go ahead and start working with our sauce. So I did mention we're making a mac and cheese, but with butternut. So what are we doing? We're gonna go ahead and eliminate all of the fatty parts of that delicious mac and cheese that we eat, but we're gonna substitute it with a really good ingredient that tastes really good and is gonna be pretty similar to how we eat our mac and cheese. Okay, so what I'm gonna do first, I'm gonna take my blender and I'm gonna go ahead and start working with my butternut squash, and I'm gonna start creating it and making it into a sauce. So here I have my butternut squash that I have pre-boiled. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and add this in to my blender. All right. And I'm gonna go ahead and start putting in some vegetable broth in there to start getting this into a sauce-like liquid, okay? So here's my vegetable broth. Let me go ahead and put some in here to start. All right. And then we'll keep working some more in there as we go. All right, so I'm gonna go to my puree. Have it pretty much how we want it, saucy. Okay, so we're going to leave that there, and now we're going to go ahead and go to the next step of our recipe. And now we're going to start working with our onion and our garlic. Okay, so I'm going to go over some knife skills with you now. So, all right, so here we go with my half of an onion, okay? So the onion, if you notice, it's got this side of it and up here. So we want to make sure that we keep this side here because this is what holds our onion in place, okay? So I cut the onion in half this way. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut this top off, and that's going to release my peel, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and see how easy now this peel comes off, just like that. And what the recipe is asking for is a mince. When you hear mince, I want you to think of a really small cut, and I'm going to show you how to do that now. Okay, so basically, what we want to do is we want to slice this first, then we're going to dice it, and then we're going to get to our mince with a technique that we call in Common Threads, rock and chop. Now, the first thing that I want to teach you, though, real quick for safety in the kitchen, it's very important, is the bear claw. Okay, bear claw means that our fingers are tucked away. Okay, that's why we call it the bear claw, because it looks like we have a bear claw there. And that's what you do. You keep those fingers tucked away, and that keeps us safe from the knife. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and slice first. Okay, the recipe asks for a half of an onion, so this is what we have. We're slicing first, carefully, okay, with our bear claw. All right, we got our half of an onion, and now we're going to take this and we're going to go ahead and create the dice. Keeping those fingers tucked away is very, very important for our safety. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and now dice this. Dice, when you hear dice, you want to think of little small cubes or squares. All right, so there we go with that. You don't want to work with too much at a time so that it comes out the way we want it. Okay, when I talk about cutting, I always talk about trying to keep the cuts uniform. Okay, and the reason why is because when you cook it, you know, you're going to have an even cook on all of the pieces of vegetable that you're cooking. Okay, if you cut something really big and something really small, the small one is going to cook really fast, and the big piece is probably going to be uncooked. So that's one of the main reasons why you want to go ahead and cut your ingredients evenly and uniform. And the other reason that I always like to talk about as well is that it looks nice, okay? When you get ready to serve your plate and people see the food that you've prepared, they're gonna see something that looks nice on their plate, okay? So here we go, we have our onion and we have it diced right now, but we need a mince. Okay, so what are we gonna do to mince this? We're gonna use a technique called the rock and chop. I'm gonna put my 4 fingers on top and I'm gonna go ahead and start rocking and chopping through this. Okay, and what this does is it starts to really break down my ingredient into a smaller cut, which is the mince that we're looking for. So I'm gonna go through this a few times. Okay, you're gonna notice that the onion starts to stick on the side of the knife, so you can just push that down carefully. All right, go ahead and make like a little mountain in the middle of your board to keep everything nice and organized, and just go through it a few times so that we can get our minced onion. All right, and that looks really good right there. Okay, so while I'm doing this, I'm going to go ahead and turn on my skillet because that's where I'm going to go next. And I want my skillet to be nice and hot before I put the oil in there, okay? I always like my skillet to be hot, then the oil goes in, and that guarantees that I'm going to have a nice hot oil ready to cook my ingredients. Okay, so we're going to go medium on this. All right, so I got my onion ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and put it in a bowl to have it ready to go. My minced onion. And the next ingredient that I'm going to work with is the garlic. Now the garlic is a little bit smaller than the onion, so you really got to be careful when cutting it. Okay, so we're going to use 2 garlic cloves for this recipe, and I have the garlic cloves here ready to go. All right, I'm going to break these down, and it's also asking for my garlic to be minced. Okay, so I like to have my cutting board nice and clean. All right, so here we go. I'm going to take off this little piece that the garlic has at the end of it. That's like a dry piece. I don't want that. Okay, always want to remind my students that they want to think about the final product, okay? The final thing that they're going to present in front of their guest, okay? How is it going to be when they go ahead and take that first bite? Is it going to be too big? Is it going to be too small? Okay, so think about that. So we're going to do basically the same thing we did with the onion. We're going to go slices first, then we're going to dice, and then we're going to go ahead and use our rock and chop, okay? So I went ahead and did these first. Slicing it, okay, careful, keeping those fingers away from the blade. And now I'm going to turn them around, get my dice going. All right, and now we're going to go to our rock and chop. Same thing happens with the garlic. It starts sticking on the side of the knife. So you want to go ahead and push that back down. You want to use all of your ingredients. We don't want to let anything go to waste. And this garlic and the onion really give our recipe a lot of its flavor. All right, so as I continue mincing, okay, the next step is going to be to add 1 tablespoon of olive oil into my skillet. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and saute my onion and my garlic in there. And then I'll tell you what the next step is. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's add in 1 tablespoon of olive oil into my hot pan. Okay, and how can you tell if the oil is hot enough and ready to be used? Because what happens is if it's not hot enough, it's going to start to soak into the food that you're cooking. You don't want that. Okay, you want to use your olive oil to cook the food, not to soak in. So how do you know? If it moves around in there pretty quickly, that means that your oil is nice and hot. If it's still moving around slowly, that means it's not hot enough to where you want it. Okay, so now we're going to go to the step where we're going to go ahead and saute our onion and our onion and our garlic. So let's go ahead and get the onion in there. And our garlic. And this is starting to smell really good. So I got my sauce here, and I got the other ingredients that are going to really make that cheese sauce or that butternut squash sauce really taste good. Okay, so let's go ahead and saute this a little bit more. I'm going to make sure that your onion and your garlic is soft. Okay, you can start to tell when the onion is ready because it starts to become translucent. Okay, all right, let's wait a few more seconds. I really like to review my recipes, make sure that everything is coming along the way it should. I always tell my students, your recipe is your best friend, all right? Your recipe is your best friend. It's going to take you to the promised land so that your recipes come out tasting delicious. All right, so we're sauteing our onion and our garlic. And now we're gonna go ahead and start adding in some more ingredients. So take a look. We're gonna add in some Parmesan cheese, and over here I have 1/4 of a cup of Parmesan cheese, okay? 1/4 of a cup of Parmesan cheese, that's gonna go in. Okay, we're gonna add in a 1/2 cup of milk. All right, we're gonna go ahead and add some salt. A little bit of salt to taste. And we're gonna go ahead and use some freshly cracked pepper in there. All right, give this a little mix. And now we're gonna go in with our butternut squash. All right. And if you like your mac and cheese with your cheese nice and creamy, this is definitely going to give you that same consistency, that you like in that cheese sauce. Okay, so we're going to mix this in. Really combine all these ingredients together. So we have our butternut squash, we have our milk, we have our Parmesan cheese, we have our garlic, and our onion. Okay, so we want to go ahead and mix this slowly. Really get all those flavors to really marry with each other there. All right. Okay, so while this is gonna cook a little bit longer, I'm gonna get my pasta ready so that I can go ahead and add this delicious sauce that's gonna give me the nice consistency that we're used to when we have our mac and cheese. So let's go ahead and get this area here ready. For that, I'm gonna go ahead and give my pasta a little rinse so that it's not sticky. Let me go ahead. All right. There's my serving bowl. I have my pasta. I'm going to go ahead and make sure it's nice and drained. All right. Okay. This goes in here. Macaroni ready to get all of this goodness. All right, give it one last spin, and this is going to go on top here, and we're going to give it a little mix. All right. Go ahead and mix this up really good. Now remember, this does have Parmesan cheese, so it's not completely missing the little bit of cheese that we all like, okay? So it is gonna have some cheese in there but the majority of our creamy sauce is going to be that butternut squash that is offering us lots and lots of nutrition. Okay, it's packed with lots of vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants that really help us boost our immune system, all right, and help us really guard and protect ourselves from this virus that's out there right now. And I'm going to go ahead and finish this off. I'm going to garnish it a little bit with a little bit more Parmesan cheese on top. And there you have your butternut squash mac and cheese. All right, let me give you a close-up of this delicious plate that I really hope that you make very soon and you enjoy it with your family and friends. Look at that goodness. All right. So thank you very much for joining us, and we will see you next time. Have a wonderful day.
I hope you enjoyed today's session. I did. Join us every Thursday at 1 p.m. on Facebook Live for healthy cooking and nutrition classes with Common Threads. If you want to view the session again, visit cmgengage.com/virtual. See you next week. Now tell me, do you really think you can walk